What are you going to learn in Coaching Below the Surface? Well, you're going to be able to becoming a better coach, becoming a better connector, connecting better with yourself, which will not only differentiate you in this AI age, but it also help you grow your business and help you really differentiate yourself as a leader. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leading Below the Surface podcast. I'm your host, LaTonya Wilkins, and today is going to be a solo episode. And it's been quite some time since I've done a solo episode, since I've spent time talking about a topic and doing a deep dive in it. So I will be doing that today. But before I get into the topic, which is all about becoming a better coach and connector and what that means over just marketing and activity. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So this is for people who you feel like there's a lot of activity. If you're a leader, you feel like you're doing a lot of networking and nothing's really popping. So I'm going to talk about that today. But before we get into that, a couple of announcements and a couple of reminders. So we are on YouTube. We record every single episode now. You can find both audio and video on YouTube. So follow our Change Coaches channel on YouTube. Second, if you're not already on the bi-weekly practice, which is my newsletter, we relaunched it. It's called Leading Below the Surface with LaTonya. It's a long form newsletter. It comes out twice a month. I say semi-monthly, not bi-monthly, because it's not really bi-monthly. It comes with everything from journal prompts to events to other ways to engage. You can find that link in the show notes. And finally, for those of you who have been thinking about joining Coaching Below the Surface, exploring Coaching Below the Surface, we will be kicking off 2 cohorts in September of 2026. So I'd love to see all of you there. So what is Coaching Below the Surface? It's a coach and leadership training. It's cohort-based and community-based. So we have 2 cohorts. We have an entire community. We have an alumni community. And it offers ICF credits. What are you going to learn in Coaching Below the Surface? Well, you're going to be able to do a lot of the things I'm talking about today. Becoming a better coach, becoming a better connector, connecting better with yourself, which will not only differentiate you in this AI age, but it also help you grow your business and help you really differentiate yourself as a leader. I will share more about that in the show notes and we can talk about that. And also, if you join the newsletter, you're going to be hearing more and more information about it. One more thing I will say about Coaching Below the Surface, this book behind me, if you're on YouTube, Leading Below the Surface, second edition was out in 2025. When I put it out, a lot of you were asking, hey, how do I take this deeper? How do I do this? That's what Coaching Below the Surface is. So we also call it Leading Below the Surface Relational Coach Training. We kind of use those interchangeably, but it's always Coaching Below the Surface. But if you're wondering descriptive wise what it is Leading Below the Surface Relational Coach Training. All right. So today I'm going to get into what it means to market, which I think a lot of people are doing a lot now. Market, elevator pitching, network on the surface versus becoming a better coach or connector. So the first question you're probably wondering is, are these 2 things mutually exclusive? And I'm going to say yes. In below the surface, connections, interactions, these 2 things are mutually exclusive. The former is surface. The latter is below the surface. And the latter actually is a path to growth in ways that are more sustainable, in ways that your body is a little more engaged with, in ways that are more grounded, in ways that feel a lot more aligned. Let me talk about this. What does this actually mean? So I'm going to give you 2 different case studies to start, and then we'll get into what this means and what I'm talking about. A couple weeks ago, I was on a call with a coach, and this coach said that actually there were two coaches in that same week. And these two coaches said that they were full-time coaches. They didn't feel like they were coaches. And the second one was different from the first in that she felt like the clients that she was getting clients, but whenever she tried to go deeper with them or really understand the problem, the client was having a really hard time. And so these clients kind of saw her as a surface coach, like transactional coach. And that's not the kind of coach that she was. The first person I was telling you about, they were different in that it's a very common story. So it's not just these two people, but they had been through coach training, they had an ACC, and they still felt like they weren't a real coach. I also want to bring in one more example, because this is a leadership example. Because if you are someone that works in an org or you're leading a team, there are these people that they're not very good at their job, but they're really good at networking and they seem to get everything. I hear you. You know, what's really interesting about those people is they crash out a lot. Those are the people that end up coming to me or another coach later because they've crashed out. They're not really, their values aren't really aligned. So these are the stories like, for example, one of my coachees was the CEO of an organization. I won't say which one, but it was like more of a mission-based organization. And she came from a very large company that is very reputable, like a Google. I won't say which one, but she was that person and she ended up crashing out. You know, someone else, like he was that person and he ended up having to be downsized and laying off his whole team. And so this happens. So you're seeing this and it's like, wait, LaTonya, you're telling me to be a better coach when I see all these people getting ahead that are not that. Well, hold on. The short-term appearance is not the same as the long-term reality. Again, the short-term appearance is not the same as the long-term reality. Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that. So short-term appearance. So one of the things that, like with the short-term appearance, which is really interesting, is that I've been really reading about is Lizzo. So most of you, the pop star, right? You might call her R&B. I call her pop. I still like Lizzo. I like her music. I know she had some controversy with her team. I still like her music. I'm not really sure about all the controversy, but what's been really interesting is that she released, I'm sure some of you have seen this, she released a new album and it flopped. I was kind of surprised but again, I don't follow her very closely anymore. She was at a peak during COVID, right? During when we were all in lockdown. Her music is still everywhere. It's still played everywhere. It's still out there. It's interesting because now she's almost becoming arguably irrelevant. That's just one example of the short term, you're doing everything right, but the long term, what's going on? And some of you might say, well, I just want short term and then I'm going to get out. Okay. But if you are interested in long term, if you're interested in the long term of leadership, you're interested in the long term of coaching, you're interested in long term like legacy, meaning, then this is for you. And then you're going to want to stay here. It's interesting because in my mentor coaching community, one of the things we talk a lot about is business development, because business development is not really taught in coach training. I remember when I went through coach training many years ago, and I still, obviously we have to renew and I do some, but I remember when I did my foundational training, I didn't get anything. There's nothing about how to build a business. It's kind of like when you go to, sometimes you go through a leadership development, like a whole program, and there's really no space for applying it. There's really no space for coaching and like trying things out in a lab. It's just, okay, you're done. You graduated. One of the things I will say is competent coaches don't chase clients. Good and competent coaches don't chase clients. Just like competent leaders and great leaders don't have unmanageable issues with their teams. They're always staying ahead of it. What is the solution here? Why am I doing this today? Well, because I know right now that a lot of people are looking for more. And I did an episode on this earlier this year, why coaches and leaders are looking for something different. I'll put it here. We are in different times. We are in an AI age. AI is a tool. I believe that it's finally going to be leveled out as a tool, not the tool of the future. Like, I think we're already starting to see that. Not to say it's not going to be big and it's not going to be integrated in some things. It's just not going to be, I'm sorry, folks, it's just not going to be as big as being pushed on us. And so how do you differentiate yourself in this environment where we have all these choices, where we have all these technical tools? Some coaches are making AI versions of themselves, which is something I've been offered to do, but I have not done, because my differentiator is being a connector, being a better coach, being a better leader. And guess what, folks? That sells itself. It goes beyond technique. It's really a deeper identity that you have. And when I say identity, I'm not talking about race, gender identity. I'm talking about how you identify as a leader, as a coach. Like, who are you as a leader, as a coach? How do you respond as a leader, as a coach? How do you represent yourself as a leader, as a coach? How do you represent yourself? How do you contribute to the world as a leader and a coach? I'm asking these deep questions. What's really interesting is a lot of people never get to this. They stay at the surface, they build this business, and then it kind of plateaus and they wonder why. And a lot of it's this. It's like leaders. It's like you get into your corporation and you make it to the top levels and you're like, wait, what is all this for? And that's what I'm talking about. We are in a time where you can really differentiate yourself. You could really lead with purpose. You can really coach with purpose. And the people that do this are going to be ahead of everybody else, because a lot of other people are thinking, oh my gosh, how do I optimize myself? How do I make myself an AI avatar? It's a fad. And it is. I'm just going to say it. It's a fad. That's not to say it's not usable. That's not to say it's not useful, but it's a fad. It's a fad when it becomes a place where you are trying to replace versus expand. It's a problem. And what's happening is, like, everybody has access to the same information, but people don't care about information anymore. It's there and it's important. But what's really more important is, how do you make people feel? Are you connecting people? How do you connect with yourself? How do you connect with others? And that is going to be the differentiator in the future. This is exactly what we teach in Coaching Below the Surface. And you will be alongside a cohort. It'll be two cohorts. We actually have community gatherings. We have community gatherings of people who are in the program, outside the program, alumni. It's people say that these are their people. This is the group that they've been looking for. These are the people that they've been looking for. So what do you want for your future? Do you want marketing? Do you want to build funnels? Or do you want to be a connector? Change the future. Be someone that experiencing full alignment in a time where the world needs it most. I believe that coaching is the profession of the future. I do. And so for those of you that have seen me speak, and if you're a leader, coaching skills are so vital. They're more vital than anything else. You know, people used to say strategy. People used to say visioning. I think that's important too. The thing is, you can learn the fundamentals of that more easily through information, but you can't learn how to do connecting through AI. Sorry, folks, you can't. So if this is something that's intriguing, it sounds intriguing, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat, and you can fill out an info form to get on our wait list. I'll also leave our company, our general inbox. And if you have any questions or you want to hop on a call, let's do it. All right. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us today. And we will see you next time. Next time I actually will have a client on, and we will be talking about building real community in the workplace. We'll see you then.